Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. And let's start this wonderful, fabulous product presentation with Robert Roman on the Lowry Fanfare. And the crowd roars. Well, I'll tell you why I opened up with that number. Well, it was a hard choice because we always look at what's something fun and exciting. And I was looking at my list of rhythm style choices, and I said, I'm just going to start with the very first button because every one on here is really cool. That was a style, and I'm going to refer to this throughout the presentation, called Smooth Foxtrot. And Smooth Foxtrot was a style that originally came out on the Lowry Imperial. And the Imperial, Sean, do you remember what the Imperial retailed for? You weren't here when that came out, were you? But you probably heard us talk about
Just
it.
a couple years before me. Yep.
When it was introduced, it was it was very close to $80,000. And what made that instrument, besides many things, was the rhythm style choices. And over the years, Lowry has done a phenomenal job at adding rhythm styles, and I'll get into it in a little bit. Um, so you're going to hear me talking about. I might say this is a $70,000 style. This is a $60,000 style because all of these additional styles came from. In fact, why don't you put the rhythm chart real quick? So the design of the instrument, the way they did this, was very clever. You'll notice that all of the buttons where it says the button name, that button name is very similar to that of what's called the Lowry Easy 4, which I believe you have. It's also very similar to the Easy 10. The Easy 10 has actually the exact same button names.
Yeah.
Okay,
So those standards, traditional. Yeah, those are all the same as the Easy 10.
it's the same labeled on the Easy 10. Now the Easy 4 has most of those button labels. However, what Lowry did was very clever. Instead of adding, in this case, it looks like, what is that, 72 on there, if I did the math? Instead of adding 72 buttons, they have one button do multiple things. So I pushed the very first button called Standards, and what you would normally get on the Easy series is Frank and the Count, 2B piano, guitar, swing, and there's a button called Group 2. When I press that Group 2, which is right here on the instrument, every one of those that I select will also give me the alternate ones. So this Group 2 is going to be on quite a bit because it's my favorite button. So just as an example, I'm going to go right next door to the country button, and we have three fabulous country styles here, and it just depends on the mood that I'm in. And I'm in the mood to play all three, but I don't have time to play all of these. They're wonderful. One of them says country swing. One of them says Floyd piano, and one of them says on the trail. So I'm going to let you choose country swing, Floyd piano, or on the trail. You have to mute. Say it again.
What is on the trail?
Okay. Country swing is kind of like a upbeat country rhythm style. Floyd's piano is going to sound like Floyd Kramer playing, kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the song "The Last Date."
No?
That style of music, a slow country with Floyd Kramer. He was known to play a lot of wrong notes that sounded. You know what? I'll play that one. I'll play that one
Okay.
and On the Trail.
Okay,
And I'll just do a very short songette.
okay.
Since I can't decide, I'll play them both. Here's Floyd's piano, and Floyd Kramer was a popular country player, played piano, and he did this thing called grace notes, where he slid wrong notes into the right note and created the effect called grace notes. But what happens is this is built into the style. You're going to hear him doing that for you. Listen. And watch closely, it's built into the harmony as well. So you hear those notes sliding instantly. So he had to get the last note in, and that's okay. So what I did is I reached up. I just wanted to see if it gave me what I thought it was going to give me. Again, I haven't played on a Fanfare in a while. So the harmony button here has expanded. So when I push it manually, you have the ones that you're used to having, AOC, duet, and now they have what's called open, octave duet, rock, octave, and country. And so they all do wonderful things. Octave will play an octave with one note. Octave duet will play two notes, an octave apart where we can't physically do it. Country does that Floyd Kramer. What's great about these is the harmonies will get chosen where it needs to be, or you can choose to put it on at any time that you like as well. And some people have a favorite harmony. There's some people that, I love that country harmony. I use it all the time, or I love the AOC. There's actually a lock button here. So if you want to use it all the time, you just lock it, and it'll just stay there until you unlock it. So pretty clever. Now, the other country style, since we couldn't decide, I had to play them both, is called On the Trail. This style, if you know the band or the name Roy Rogers, yeah, Roy Rogers had one of his popular songs was Happy Trails. So when I hear this, I instantly think, oh, I should play Happy Trails with this. Listen. Now, you said something earlier that was really a positive thing because Lowry did an exceptional job at both ease of operation, ease of upgrading, and it was a clever marketing on their part as well. And what they did, even the smallest one in this series, there was the Easy 2, and then after that the Easy 1. So there's one, technically there's the Easy 1, there's an Easy 2, there was an Easy 3, Easy 4, Easy 10. And then they had an EY 300, EY 400, and then the EX, okay? If I had them all lined up, all in a row, you could see how different they look. But if you got a close up, you'd also see how similar they looked as well. And I thought that was very clever on their part, because when someone went from one instrument to the other, the last thing someone wants to do is feel like they have to relearn where everything is. So if someone was used to using their standards button as all the styles of music, it's there. But if we put the group 2, uh-oh, my phone's ringing. I got to put it on airplane mode.
I love when that happens, because then we freeze, you freeze, and then we get to look at you for a
Yeah, I
while.
know. And it was my boss, John Riley. So I have to airplane mode him. Oh, I'm not recording this, so hopefully you can see that. But anyway, so everything that you're used to using is in the same place. All the new stuff is in the same place. So it makes finding everything easily. So when we had that rhythm chart up, this panel looks the same. Even though they have some additions, it's relatively the same as the 4 and the 10 and the 2. But they have additional categories. And this button right there, when I push group 2, every one of these gives me the new. Did my
We
camera
don't
go away
see
this
you.
time?
Yeah.
Okay. I know why. I know why. It's going to come back in just a second. There it is. Now we're back. So all I do is push group 2, and then every one of these becomes something totally new. Because then a lot of people will ask, well, how do I find all the new stuff? Just push group 2, and then just pick one of the categories in the full band pianist and guitarist. The layout of the instrument is the same too. Your styles, your window information window, your sounds, and then they made some of the other things a little easier to use. What I like about this series, the Fanfare and the Journey are the only 2 models that they designed like this, which I thought was very clever, because this here closes, covers the dash and what have you, but it was also designed to be multi-use. So when you open it, this becomes the music rack, and with the exception of the flagship models, and even some of the flagship models doesn't have this much room, you could actually fit, I think I counted 5 or 6 pages of music up here at once if needed. Some people use that when they're doing medleys. You know, they may need 2 songbooks, or they'll copy, out of their songbooks 2 or 3 songs, and they'll have it up there, and they'll do a medley. Now, up here is something sort of interesting, because these models never had this. This was customized by somebody. So I can actually say this is the only Fanfare in the world that I know of that actually has this a bonus music rack up here. And so I have the option of doing that, putting my music here, put my music here, keeping some backups here if I want as well. So I thought that was very clever. Very well done too. So I actually know who did that from where we got it from. So just a lot of clever things in the design. The instrument has the same amount of keys on the bottom here. We actually have a few extra notes to work with here, but what's really cool is what happens in the setup. So let's talk about setups. When you turn on your instrument or any Easy Series, there's a button called Style Setup that automatically comes on. And it's usually in yellow. And the minute you select a rhythm style, it activates in red. Now, you won't see it from there, but it's yellow right now. But as soon as I touch it, it turns red. Okay? So I have one setup for, let me go to the Broadway category. So we have, oh God, these are all gorgeous. This one is a $70,000 style. This came originally on the Lowry Royale, and then they kept it on all the flagship models, and then now on the Fanfare. It's called Soliloquy. It's a great style to play a lot of wonderful ballads, okay? So I'm going to put Style Setup on. It's already on. And it will set up the upper and the lower right with a great sound. It sets up the tempo. Everything's great. But when we're playing, we don't always like to use the same sound over and over. We like to experiment, and we encourage it. Try piano, try flute, strings, whatever. The catch is we start experimenting, and then in our head, we're kind of doing this. A lot of our students, I hope it sounds good. And then you end up spending time trying to find combinations. Well, I'm not I'm not a chef by no means, and I do some cooking, but I do just the simple things. My significant other, she can be handed a certain amount of food and she'll turn it into some fabulous meal. And I'm always saying, "What did you do?" And I'm writing this stuff down. So occasionally I have to get a recipe book just to get some ideas. But the thing about a recipe book is you have to open it, you have to read it, you have to go out and buy the ingredients, then you have to go back and cook it and do all of the work. What Lowry did is they have recipes in here for us automatically, but it works like a microwave and instant. All you have to do is press the button and it automatically gives you this beautiful setup. And here's how this works. So we have a button called Style Setup, and I have a rhythm style called Soliloquy. So there's one setup. Right here, there's 8 additional buttons. So 8 plus the initial one is 9. So I have 9 different setups that will work perfectly for that one rhythm style called Soliloquy. Now, if I go to the country, one of the country styles, and I use that, it'll give me 9 different setups for that one country. If I use the country 2 style, 9 different setups, etc., etc. Now, earlier, I told you there were 72 different styles of music on this instrument here, okay? So that means there are 9 different setups for every style of music. And do the math, that's close to 700. And we don't have to worry about trying to remember everything. All we have to remember is this. Just push a button from 1 through 8 and play. And then look in the screen, and the screen will tell me what sound is there. So right now I'm looking at the screen. It says piano, strings, and flute. Okay? Now, I'm going to have a little fun here. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you how this. So go ahead and unmute yourself for a second. And I want you from 1 through 8, just pick any order from 1 through 8. So most people just go 1 through 8, but I'm going to have you do it. So give me a number from 1 through 8 until we get all 8 of them, and bounce around. It doesn't have to be the same 1 through 8.
Okay. 7,
Okay?
3,
Uh-huh.
8,
Mm-hmm.
6,
Mm-hmm.
4,
Okay.
5,
Okay.
1,
And 2.
2.
Got it. Okay. Now, what I just did is I put those numbers up. I'm going to start off with the initial one, and I'm going to play this. And basically, you're going to give me you just gave me an arrangement to play the song. So if this sounds good,
Okay.
this is proof that you're a good arranger, and these are great recipes. If it doesn't sound good,
If it doesn't, I'm quitting.
yeah, if it doesn't, then we had this on recording. We could say it was all your fault. No, but I love doing this because the point of this is it doesn't matter what order you do it. They all sound great. Now, sometimes there's some that I like better than others, but they're all great combinations and well balanced. Listen. Number 7. Number 3. Number 8. 6. Number 4. 5. Number 1. And number 2. That was a pretty darn good arrangement, I'd have to say. And the thing is yeah, you're awesome. And the thing is that it doesn't matter what style of music you use and what order you use it in. You just press it and go, and they're all going to sound great. So I'm going to leave my little cheat sheet here because there's a lot of great styles on here. Now, on the note of presets, there's another thing called category presets. Style setups will set up for every rhythm specific to that style of music. Category setups are setups that are 4 great categories that you can use anytime, and you can use them with any of these 72. Okay? So we have here one called symphonic, jazz swing, country, and modern. Okay? And when I select one of those, it changes these buttons to 9 different additional sounds that you can use anytime. I'll just use the first one as an example. It's called symphonic. So as I go through the presets, the setups here, I'm just going to read some of them here. It says piano and strings, violin and cello. Ooh, I might start off with the cello here in a minute. Chamber strings, pizzicato. Ooh, pizzicato, number 5. Forte. Okay. I already got some ideas. I got excited as I was going through them. So here's the cello. Now, I'm not going to use all of the styles. I want you to hear some of these by itself. Whew, that's fun.
That made me laugh out loud.
Goodness. I had to pause for a minute because I knew that note was going to be hard to hit. Now, I was playing it manually, but the clever thing about these categories is you can use them with the rhythms anytime. So, if I wanted to do jazz swing with, let's say here, ooh, that's a cool style. I'll have to play that in a minute. If I want to use it with the big band that I played, Gypsy Rag, for example. I have a jazz swing, and I just play away. Play it manually with it, one finger. Some cool stuff. Now, you're familiar with song setup, I'm assuming? That's on the Easy 4. And there are 100 song setups on the Easy 4, Sean? Yes?
Something like that. Might be.
Just say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And on the Easy 10, guess how many they have? 100. Now on the EY 300 Fanfare, guess how many they have? I was hoping you know the answer, Sean. I know it's over 300. You have a list there? I can take a quick peek.
Yeah, I do have a list.
Why don't you
I
put
think
that up?
Yeah, let me put it right up on that screen here.
Let's take
Here we
a,
go.
there's something pretty cool about this. You're going to like this, Francis.
It's really small, so
Let's
you
see.
might have to look really close, but it's okay. It's not.
104.
That's
Oh, they're
page
numbered. So
one.
we'll get the answer to our
And then it's
question.
got another page, 206.
206. Okay. Now, take a look at these song setups. So just as a reminder, and I'm doing this because I'm recording this, so somebody's watching this, and they don't know what song setup is. So, as you know, song setup does exactly what it says. If you select the song Blueberry Hill or Bye Bye Love or what have you, what it'll do is it'll set up the instrument to play that song. And it should be a near perfect setup. It's never 100% because some people say, well, I'd rather use it this way, but for the most part, you get a great setup, upper keyboard, lower keyboard, tempo. Now you'll notice that there's some, and here's an example. If you go to the number 4, Aloha Oi. See where it says Aloha Oi? It puts up a style called Aloha, okay? Number 7, Anniversary Song. That pretty much, if you notice, it right next to it, it tells you the rhythm style that it's going to choose on the instrument. Now, virtually every model in the Easy and EY series has an Easy Waltz style, okay, etc. But you'll notice that a lot of the song setups have a rhythm style that's in bold. And here's something really cool about this. Francis, do you remember how many rhythm styles I told you were on this instrument? You can unmute yourself.
Was that the 72 number?
Correct. There are 72. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 12 categories. Full band, pianist, and guitarist. So that gives us 36. And then the group tube doubles it to 72. Okay. But because of the song setups that are added to this instrument, you'll notice ones that are in bold. Those styles only exist, or well, let me rephrase, are supposed to only exist on the elite models.
Oh.
So what Lowry did was very, very clever. And I thought this was really not just clever on a marketing point, but for the benefit of the student, is when they put a song setup, for example, like, where is it? In the Mood. I don't know if you're familiar with Glenn Miller, but it might be way before your time. But
No, it's not.
well, you know, Glenn Miller had a lot of great big band numbers that people remember to this day. Well, instead of putting a style of, because on the panel, there's not an actual rhythm that's designed for the song In the Mood. Now, I can make it work. I can put Frank in account and make it work. But what Lowry did is, if it didn't exist, and it should, when I select the song set up In the Mood, it'll give me the style called swing band. Now, swing band is a style on the elite models that sounds just like In the Mood. Now, on the note of Glenn Miller, is Moonlight Serenade on there as well, Sean? Let's see if they did that. Oh my goodness, they sure as heck put it on there. Moonlight Serenade, another fantastic recording by Glenn Miller. The style is called Serenade. So here's what that means. And there are how many, Sean? 72?
I can look. Hold on. How many hidden ones there are, you mean?
additional, yeah, they're called hidden styles. We call them hidden styles.
66.
Huh?
66. So you get 72 original rhythms plus 66 additional.
So
Hmm.
you don't actually have just 72 styles. You get 100 and
Yeah.
whatever that adds up. But what's clever about this is I just use song setup like I normally do. Even if I don't have that chart in front of me, some people go, how will I know if it's one of those additional bonus? I like to call them bonus styles. Okay. Well, let's go to the M's. And Moonlight Serenade. When I select it, everything sets it up. I take a look over the panel here. If none of the 12 buttons are lit, it means it's a bonus style
Hmm.
because it doesn't exist by just pushing this button here, but it will if I use the song setup. So if I played the song Moonlight Serenade, and these are amazing because a lot of these are what's called signature styles. Signature style is basically when you play the song that it's designed for, the arrangement sounds perfect for that song. So when you hear the introduction, it's going to sound like the opening, the introduction to Moonlight Serenade. As I'm playing the notes, you're going to hear the background sound just like Glenn Miller's arrangement. Listen.
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I think I saw another one on there that I was surprised they put it on there. Can I see that list again? Sean is the screen share master. Screen sharing Sean, we call him. Where's the M's? M's. Let me look. M's. Oh my goodness, they did. Look at that, Mr. Sandman.
Oh.
There's a style called Sandy Man. Do you remember
Ah.
the gals that sang that? Where they were called the Cordettes? Cordettes? Did I say that right? I always mispronounce that. So if you think about, well, since I'm near the M's, I should get to it very easily. Mr. Oh, they got a few Misters. Bojangles, Mr. Lucky, Mr. Sandman. Hit select, it sets it all up for me. It's not lit here, but it's selected. And you're going to have this, they're going to be, well, it's just like having the Cordettes. Here we go.
Oh.
I go. Now, there's some other features on here that really makes life a lot easier for the hobby player. So these are just, I'm going to ramble off some buttons here that really just make life easier. For example, here's a simple feature, keyboard touch. Okay, now you have that feature in your instrument. So if you go to your feature button and you scroll, there's a touch button, and it allows you to play the notes harder or softer. So depending on, like, if you're using piano, what have you. But the minute you switch your style, it resets it. On here, I have the option of easily turning it on or off, and it remains until I turn it off. And if I leave it off, it'll remain until I turn it on. So it's whatever position. So they've done little things like this to make the use of the features that we use when we play without having to have talent, but it just makes it easier for us. Here's another little thing. When we select a rhythm style, a lot of times the tempo comes up perfectly for a song. Sometimes I have to adjust it slow or fast, depending on the song, or sometimes we have to slow it down just because maybe I'm just learning to play the the songs. A lot of students, they feel like the song's a little too fast. So what they do is they'll select a style, and they'll just put it on, and then they'll just put this one on here, and they'll go, okay, and they'll try to adjust it, and then they'll go and they'll play it, and they go, no, that's not work, and they end up doing all of this adjusting to try to get it. But sometimes we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That might work for me, or maybe a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Lowry put a feature here that if you can't find the tempo by trying to push it and on and the number, and there's a button here called tap tempo. And you tap it out as fast or slow as you want it. So if I want something upbeat, I know I want to play a song like that style there. Sometimes I'll do Bill Bailey with it, but that's too slow for Bill Bailey for me. I go, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
Okay, well, that's too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the benefit is you choose the tempo that you know will work for you. And sometimes it's what tempo is ideal for that song. Here's another little thing we get a lot, right, Sean? I'm playing and that melody is too strong.
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah.
sometimes I'm playing and the band is too strong and I can't hear my right hand, or I can hear it here but not here, or all these little balance questions. Usually it comes down to one thing or two things. Either the melody sound is too strong, or vice versa, the accompaniment is too strong. So Larry came up with a very clever button. And actually, I adjusted it right in the beginning, because as I noticed we were having a sound check issue, I noticed the melody was a little strong. So what I did is I came over here, there's a thing called balance. And the left button says accompaniment, that's the band. And the right button says melody, the melody sound. So what I did is, if it's red in the middle, it means it's the standard setting. As I'm playing, if I push the button towards the accompaniment, you'll hear this less and the band more. So now I went to the extreme, but now if you go to the other way, so what I did is in the middle, I just put it one notch over, and that was perfect. And it'll remain there until you turn the instrument off. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it looks kind of like that. So whichever one you want to hear more of, you just touch it. That's my favorite feature on there, I think. I love it.
It's really, I can't tell you how many people bought a Fanfare or Journey because of that button. And I'd spend an hour talking about all this other, because they have troubles trying to balance it out. And what happens is they go over and they start messing with these volumes here and the volumes here and the volumes here, and it just ends up getting out of whack, and they feel like they have to start from scratch again. Here it's just tap it. You don't tap too much, just as needed. Here's another little thing. I don't think you can see it from that angle there, maybe. You see these little sticks down there?
The pedals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they for, Sean? Well, most people like to say they're used to keep the instrument from tipping over. But the reason why a lot of the organs have pedals, and it's remarkable because, what would you say, 95% people don't play the pedals, Sean?
Say that again. Sorry, somebody
How
was
many
talking to
people do
me.
you think that have pedals actually play the pedals?
Oh, I'd say maybe like 1%.
I'd say
maybe 2.
95% or higher don't. Yeah, so the same. Yeah, that's what I meant. Most people don't. So the question is why are they there? Well, for that small percentage of people, if we have someone walks in and says, I learned to play organ with pedals, you turn it on and you just, that's the bass note. What Lowry did is they said, they're there for those people, but let's make it do something for the non-pedal players. Now, when I play, my left foot, because I keep my right foot in the expression pedal a lot. I use my left foot a lot. I tend to tap. A lot of students do. And what Lowry did was pretty cool. They have a little button over here called Pedal Magic. And when I touch it, it gives me options for the pedals, even if I don't play the pedals, and they're very easy. Okay? And here's how it works. I touch the button, the first thing that comes up says long, short. I tell students that if you don't plan on using the pedals, keep this one on just in case, because every now and then a student will tap and accidentally hit the pedal. And if you do, you might get the wrong note while you're playing. So rather than doing that, what you can do is put long and short. So if you hit any long note and short note at any time, it'll put the correct note in. It's like a fake it button for pedals. Yeah. So if I was doing this kind of country here, you hear the bass? Boom, boom. Okay. Now if I played the bass myself, you'd have to hit the right notes. But if you hit any long note, short note, it'll put the right note. So even if you're not and you're tapping your foot and you accidentally hit it, it'll put the correct note in there. It'll never play the wrong note. That's pretty clever. I think this next one is called Get Close. I think it was for those people that think they play the pedals. I think it was kind of a jab at those type of players because Lowry, I know a lot of students, they play and they hit the note and they'll get to this other note here and they won't quite get to the G, but they might hit the F instead. Get close. If you get close to the correct notes, if you are playing it, it'll put the correct note in. These next two things are my favoriteest features of this. One of them is called fill. Now you have a fill button on your instrument. And then you also have it on the expression pedal. A lot of people are a little leery about that because they do this and then the volume goes crazy.
Exactly.
Well, there's two features here that solves that problem. One is called fill. So if I'm playing and I have fill selected, at any time, I just hit the pedal and it does the fill for me. And it's designed, it puts all of them as the feature. So you don't have to like look, you just stomp on it. Very clever. But let's say I want to play some Hawaiian music. Okay, sometimes I'm in the mood for Hawaiian. So we'll tell people, or country music, guitars bending and all these things. So we'll say, so that's the glide switch, right? That's even harder for a lot of students. Well, now they have that feature here on here. So if I just do this, oh, I don't have to put my foot there, watch.
Oh.
So Pedal Magic gives you those four options. You can choose them whenever you want. Little things like having the lights, the letters lit up makes it easier for students. Here's a couple other little things that really is a big deal to me. You've heard me use a lot of styles of music today. And then one of the songs I played, like if I were a rich man, I did it manually without a rhythm. But not everybody plays feet and pedals and chords. So what Lowry did is they put a wonderful feature here. I think it's one of my favorite buttons. It's simply called Golden Harp. Okay? And when I touch it on the screen, a word comes up, a couple words. It says up, down, up only, down only, and virtuoso. And here's what this does. So you can use this with or without a rhythm, but a lot of students tend to use it without a rhythm a lot because what they don't like is they turn on the organ. Let's say they put on, some pretty strings and the easy button. Okay? And they don't like that hum, they call it, because it kind of gets boring after a while. So what Lowry did is they put this golden harp, and what it'll do is it'll take whatever chord we're playing, and it'll do this beautiful arpeggio automatically. Now, if I go to up only, down only, it does what it says. Virtuoso is like a combination of all three. And you can use it with any preset at any time. Isn't that pretty?
Yes.
It's such a cool, and it's not just without a rhythm style. If I had a rhythm style on too, it works perfectly for that as well. Now, some other cool features that is not needed at first, but when students start using it, they can't do without. Now, earlier I said there was, a lot of setups in here, 9 times 72 styles of music and, what have you. So that's a lot of setups. But over time, what happens is students like to experiment. Now, have you ever found a setup by experimenting that you don't like? It happens to all of us, right? We find something, we go, no, that's not a
Yeah.
good combination. But sometimes when we experiment, we find something we do like. And sometimes when we find it, I like it a lot. And what I'll do is, what some students do is they'll take their paper out and they'll write everything down so they can get that set up whenever they want, right? On here, they allow us to take these 8 buttons and you can store actually 8 plus 0, 9. They allow you to store up to 9 different of your favorite setups. And how many times is it? 20 or 25?
20 what?
The bank setups?
Oh, 20, yeah.
20. Up to 20 times. So that's a lot of setups. And here's how it works. If you're pushing buttons and you're experimenting, you go, oh, I really like that. I don't want to lose it. Actually, let me do that. Let me find a style here. Let's see. I like gospel. I like that. I like this. I like that. Okay. I'll put gospel ballad. It's a great soft gospel ballad. And let's just say I'm pushing buttons and I go, I want to do this. And I want to put this sound here and I don't know what to. Let's see, I want a drummer, and I'm just pushing buttons randomly, okay? And then I want this sound, put that up there, put that on the top, okay. Yeah. Okay, and I go, oh, I really love that. All I have to do is push memorize A, and then I just push a number from 1 through 10, and then you confirm it, and now that's saved there. So if I turn that off, turn the organ off, come back to it, if I just push A1, that setup is there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like your favorite station on a car, only they give you 9 that you can save 20 times.
Wow.
And then you can title them however you want. So little things that just make the hobby even more interesting and fun. Now, the best part is, and I wish I had about 24 hours, is all of these styles set up all these wonderful sounds. And I'll actually use one of my favorite styles on here, and it's called Wonderful World. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is because this also was one of those styles that came off of the flagship model. It was originally started on the Imperial, which was nearly 80,000. But the reason why so many people fell in love with this was 2 reasons. First of all, if I played the song What a Wonderful World, the arrangement was perfect, meaning the built-in arrangement. I just played the song and it gave me a perfect arrangement for that song. If I decided I want to play other songs like Can't Help Falling in Love or you Don't Know Me, all these great 50s type songs, this style also works great for those styles. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come over here and push a button. You might hear it clicking. You hear that? It's telling me the tempo. And then I'll tell you what I did after I'm done doing it. Let me play a little bit of What a Wonderful World. Isn't that pretty? Now you're going to hear it clicking. I'm going to press stop. What I did is I pushed a record button and it recorded me. So if I press play,
Good.
It's showing you different.
Yeah.
so the beauty of that is you can record your own. So it's a good, actually, educational tool because a lot of students will sometimes want to hear how they're doing, or sometimes they ask.
Basically what
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have.
hold on one second. You want me to turn this on so you can hear it?
Yeah.
My husband wants to listen in.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I wish he'd come sooner. I'm almost done. Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
It's okay. You could do a big finale for him, then
I'll
he'll
do a
just
big
know.
finale for him.
That's Robert.
Finale.
And his name's Bob. I don't know if you met him.
Bob.
Hi,
and this is
Bob.
Ro-
Finale.
Can you hear me?
He's introducing himself.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. What was I saying? Oh, so in that case, right there, I was recording,
Yeah.
and you can play back the recording. Now, some students use it as a tool to listen to themselves because, when you're playing, we're focused on the music. We don't really tell how well we're doing unless we can go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
Or what a lot of students do is they have us come over and record a few songs, a few medleys on the instrument.
Really?
Oh yeah, we'll just, especially around Christmas time, they like so they're up to 25 songs I think you can record into it, and there's a bunch of built-in ones. So what I'll do is typically is I will, for like Christmas music, song one, I'll record a bunch of songs. So
Uh-huh.
a medley, yeah. So I'll play like 10 or 15 Christmas songs. So they have one spot used for that. So it's really great. But I have a few. He's just in time because I really want to play a few of my favorite new styles on here. I can't play them all, but here's one here that I've really fallen in love with. It's called, where did it go? Boogie Piano. So I go to pop and in group 2, and there's Boogie Piano. This is fun. Now, there is also a famous, speaking of boogie woogie and piano, there's a famous rock and roller that played a piano. Some of you may remember him. He kind of had an interesting style. His name was Jerry Lee Lewis. So they put him in here. You can play all sorts of great 50s rock and roll with that. And the crowd roars. Or if you go back to the time of, I'm trying to remember the band. You'll know the band when I play this. This style was taken right off of it originally came out on the very high-end instrument called the Lowry Liberty. And so it had a very high-end price tag. But the style, a lot of people fell in love with it. The style was called My Gal.
Yeah.
I love this style because and of course, a lot of people like gospel music, and I didn't play it all the way through earlier, but there was a new style in here. This one here is really fun. This one's called Soulful. And since we talked about Glenn Miller earlier, I did Glenn Miller's Moonlight Serenade, but we talked about In the Mood, but I didn't do it. I want you to hear A, B. I got to know my alphabets. I'm still in the M's from earlier, so I'm going to go down to I for in the mood. Select and listen to this introduction and the fills everything. Oh, God. That was a lot of fun. Now, I don't know if you know the name Frank Sinatra. Might be before your
yes.
time.
No, it wasn't.
Uh, I saw this earlier and I thought, could it actually be? It's in the song setup and it's actually built into the instrument as well. So style setup, you'll know exactly what's a great song to play when you hear it.
Uh,
Well, the list goes on and on and so that is the Lowry Fanfare. Gosh, I wish we had a bunches of these in stock, right?
Oh yeah, me too.
So